Good afternoon. My name is Ellie Gettinger, and I am the Museum Education Director at Jewish Museum Milwaukee. We are delighted that you are stopping by with us for a museum moment today. Today is a very special museum moment because we have the privilege of being joined by Toni Davison Levenberg, who is the longtime director of Camp Interlaken, which is the JCC's camp. We talked a little bit about its history on Tuesday in our museum moment, but today we're going to go into a little bit more depth about Camp Interlaken's history, about what's going on now and what it looks like for the future. So I'm delighted to bring in Toni. Hello.
Hi, Ellie.
Welcome to Museum Moments. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Toni, you have been at Interlaken for 15 years?
Yeah, this summer is summer 15 for me.
And so what, can you give me a sense in those, I know that you are, in Milwaukee terms, newer to Camp Interlaken. In any other place in the world, you're very established. But tell us about kind of the history of Interlaken. How did it come to be? And why did the JCC feel like they wanted to have a camp?
So the history of Interlaken, when Jack Weiner was at the helm of the JCC, they wanted an overnight camp. They wanted a resident camp. They wanted to be a part of the movement of Jewish camps that were opening up all across the country, and more specifically in Wisconsin, with the first Ramah of the conservative movement opening in Conover, Wisconsin, and the first URJ camp at Osrui opening in Wisconsin. They wanted to join and be a part of that group as well. So they were looking for a camp. And their friend, Irv Pekarsky, who is a Milwaukeean who had a home on Lake Finley up in Eagle River, he said, hey, the camp on my property is up for sale. It was called Camp Interlaken of the Pines for Boys. It was a Chicago-based camp, and it was really beautiful. And when the group from Milwaukee went up to see it, they said, this is it. This is going to be our gem in the North Woods. And this is going to be our home of our JCC camp. And so in 1966, Camp Interlaken JCC opened. And this summer is our 55th summer in operation.
Wow. In terms of the kind of feeling that Camp Interlaken inspires, what are the things that you feel are like kind of central to what you guys provide as a camp?
So I think the Camp Interlaken is unique because the entire camp is a family. On the first night of camp, we have an opening campfire where everybody comes together. And I always get up and I say the same line. And now I'm at that point where the campers say it along with me. And I say, there are no strangers here. There are only friends you have not yet met. And by the end of the 4-week session, I'm standing up at the campfire again, and I'm sharing that not only did we meet and make these amazing friends, but everybody became a family. And it was so incredible to watch that happen. Because our camp is not centered on the cabin-based activities, and it's centered on choice-based activities, campers spend their time and staff spends their time getting to know everybody else in camp. And so by the end of the 4 weeks, you know everybody by at least first name or nickname. And you really have developed this cohesive community that is so central and strong to our camp.
How many kids for each session do you normally get?
We've actually evened out. We used to have about 100 camper difference between first and second session. And in the most recent years, we've been at about 260 per session.
So it's amazing that you can form those kind of close relationships with 260 of your closest friends from all over the country. What do you feel like kind of are the hallmark traditions at Interlaken? And I know you've been involved with Jewish camping for pretty much the vast majority of your life. What do you think puts that in line with other camps, and how is it different at Interlaken?
There are a couple of things that are unique to Interlaken. Listen, every camp has a color war or a maccabiah of some sort. And every Jewish camp has Shabbat, right? And it's really special. And they do what they do to make it special. But there are a couple of key components to Interlaken that are really unique that I don't think happen at other camps. For example, we do a program called KTO, and this is when the Kfar Noir campers take over
Who our campers are.
They're 10th graders, and they take over our camp. And they get to be counselors for the day and staff for the day and run Hugim for the day, which are activities. And they get to be a part of understanding what it looks like to take care of camp. And so it's a great preview for them to see, do I even want to be staff someday? And it's a great opportunity for them to get to try it out. One of my favorite things that happens is that they apologize afterwards to their counselors for any of the surus they may have caused over the last 8 years of their camper experience and camper history.
So in one day, they figured that just walking a day in their counselor's shoes, and they figured out how.
They do. They do. You know, at camp, a day feels like a week.
It's true.
And so it's a long day, but it is an awesome day. It was really hard. A couple days ago, it popped up on my calendar that it was KTO. And it was sad to not celebrate KTO with our campers this summer because I know they would have done an amazing job. And I was really looking forward to that feeling of pride that I feel having watched them grow up at camp and now get to deliver this amazing day to all of our other campers.
So, and Michelle Lafferty just jumps in to say great history, and we appreciate that. Thanks, Michelle. She has been active in camp for many years. Toni, this is a weird year for camp. How do you kind of describe what you as a camp director, what the camp community is feeling at this moment?
We're all feeling a loss. We're feeling a loss of the summer. We're all feeling so many losses in our lives in so many ways and so many places. And there are so many disappointments that have come with the last few months. And the entire Jewish community, and of not just Milwaukee, but nationally, is feeling this great loss of not being at camp in the summer. And we have campers and staff who count down the minutes until they get to be at camp. It is that respite for them. It is a reset for them. It is a break from social media. It is a recharge for everyone's mental health. And we're really missing that this summer. We're also missing the fun and the hugs and the laughter and the singing. And it really feels like a loss to everybody, to parents, campers, staff, and to me.
So what do you feel like, are there any ways, I know Interlaken has been doing a lot of virtual programming as well. How are you trying to bring those kind of camp traditions home in some way or another?
We've been doing a lot of virtual engagement. What's been really surprising is how many alumni we've been engaging with. And that has been a surprising outcome of the virtual engagement that we've been doing. We've been doing song sessions, and in the beginning, we had a couple of campfires. We've celebrated Shabbat together. We've celebrated Havdalah together. And over these next couple of weeks, as second session is supposed to open next week, we'll be engaging specifically with age groups to try and bring together a little bit of camp community before everybody goes back to school.
And so in this moment, as we're all kind of, you can't know what the future is going to bring. What does the future of camping look like to you? How do you see it playing out?
It's a great question. I think about what are the things that we are so hungry for and that we miss the most, and what are really our goals, and what are our missions. And our missions are truthfully, all of us, our mission is Jewish continuity, right? And the bottom line, it's Jewish continuity, and it is teaching campers and staff how to be the best versions of themselves. And so we are in the field all talking about what does that look like in 2021 with COVID, without COVID, and what are our plans? And we're still in the middle of those conversations, especially as we look at what does school look like in the fall, right, and in the winter and in the spring, and what's happening. And luckily, we have that time in between now and then to really figure it out. We're all looking at the plans that we had made in March and April to open our camps this summer. What were they? What were the health and safety protocols we were putting in place? And we should all do them for the summer of 21. And so how are we going to get that done? And what are the things we need to do? I'm on a committee with the JCCA talking about health and safety of 21 and how to move us towards the direction of opening and running camp as we know it. And also thinking through what is going to have to look different. We don't yet know what that is, but we are working on it, and we're going to get there.
Yeah. As we're kind of wrapping up, I just, in thinking about camp, a lot of them have some sort of legend or some sort of, campfire tale. What do you think is like intrinsic to that culture of Interlaken? Is there the story you always tell? I know you have a thing about two challahs, which I won't make you get into, but.
So, Havdalah at Interlaken is our most special time of the week. It is this sacred 20 minutes where the whole camp comes together in the most respectful, beautiful gathering. There are a handful of people who stand up in front. We're all sitting lakeside behind our Havdalah and our dining hall. And we've got a couple of song leaders. We have a couple of singers, soloists, our Judaic educator, and then 3 campers holding our candle, our spice box, and our Kiddush cup. And we have a beautiful Havdalah ceremony. One of everyone's favorite parts is when the soloists, or I guess duettists, sing together. They sing Hine El Yeshuati, and it's really beautiful, and really a beautiful. There's this beautiful silence in camp as everybody's listening.
Which is probably unusual. You never get silence.
You never hear that beautiful silence. But it is so sacred and so special to all of our campers and all of our staff that they respect that time so much. And so as we're talking about those little things that are camp specific, Havdalah, while it is celebrated at all the Jewish camps, it is really special and really sacred for us.
So, and I hope, and I think in that way that at the end of a Passover Seder, we say next year in Jerusalem, I'm going to end this interview by saying next year at camp. And I think we all are looking forward to that. And I know so many of you guys in our earlier Tuesday commentary started posting your camp memories. Feel free to throw in what your favorite side of camp was in the comments. We'd love to see it. We'll respond. And thank you so much, Toni, for stopping by and taking this moment with us today. Next week, our moments are going to be about the Milwaukee Bucks because we are moving into possibly an NBA. I mean, they're all in the bubble now, so there's going to be some NBA playoffs happen. So we're really excited. We're going to be exploring the history of the Bucks next week. So tune in Tuesday and Thursday at 2:00. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again.
Thanks for having me.